serious?
His people are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go over his head.
Nothing goes over my head. My reflexes are too fast.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Ribeiro, and this is my co-hosts, Bob Quinn and David Coro. Dave, guys, how you doing?
Wonderful.
Lovely.
All right. It wouldn't be a Steel Sanctuary Podcast without Aaron Rodgers talk, so let's just dive right into it. Mr. Rooney put the softest deadline in the history of soft deadlines. His quote was, "I'm willing to wait a little bit longer, but not forever." My God.
Okay, so I predicted in prep that now means halftime of the third game.
I mean, it's like going to war with a squirt gun. What are you doing? I'm not going to wait forever. I mean, he's so weak, and he comes off so weak.
And that's
it's a bad look.
It's so funny, the whole week thing, because that's what's kind of like the thing with AR2. It's like we go from having these like alpha male owners of the Steelers, and the Chief and Dan, and then you get him, and it's just like weak, just so weak, doesn't come off as strong at all,
at all.
Just
not in charge.
You waited a month and a half to go, well, we're not gonna wait forever. Dude, shut up.
Yeah,
like,
45 days into this. Now you're not going to wait forever?
Yeah.
Bob's open is perfect. That's probably exactly what Aaron Rodgers' reaction to that was. He probably pissed himself laughing.
Yes.
Like, they're going to wait as long as I tell them to.
I'll do you one better. I'll bet you he hasn't even seen it yet. That's how much he doesn't care.
Not. Yeah, probably not. You're right.
Yeah. I also think that, Jeff Hathorn was on the radio the last couple of days saying that he feels like there's a handshake deal in place. I gotta feel like at this point, hey, we're not rushing. And kudos to McAfee and his guys, because if they pull this off, if he really announces it on April 9th, it was awesomely. People are all guessing at it, but nothing's coming out of the McAfee camp. And you got to wonder if they're telling Kaboli, hey, don't you say a fucking word and make it seem like it's not going to happen.
I mean, yeah. I'm not amused by it, though. If he comes out and announces it on that stupid thing for McAfee, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't change my opinion of the Steelers and how they handle this at all.
Well, that's what, T-minus 6 days from now? It's the third, right? So, yeah. So, maybe it's almost over.
Now, Adam Schefter was on today, and he did say that he still thinks that Rodgers could be waiting for Minnesota to come on and give him an offer. I mean, do you think there's a possibility that he's waiting for another team? I mean, what's the explanation? The McAfee thing?
I don't.
We're laughing. If you're not watching it live, our hashtag guys are at it again. You got to watch the show live to see these guys. Apparently, I hate hashtags now.
You know who Dave doesn't hate? He doesn't hate Jameson Williams.
No.
There you go. That is one guy you don't like. You don't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Minnesota thing. I don't know.
I think Ben is putting that out there. A couple of other people are. I can't see that. I mean, if you do, what stops J.J. McCarthy from immediately demanding a trade? And then you've really blown it with your potential franchise guy who you look. I get it. If you think you're close Super Bowl wise, if you're Minnesota, and truth be told, Aaron Rodgers in the NFC might be enough.
Yeah, that's a good team
to put you there.
But they spent a first-round draft pick on McCarthy, right?
Yeah, the only reason they signed Rodgers is if McCarthy has a setback, and that's maybe what they're waiting for to see if he's okay.
That would make more sense.
That's what they're waiting for, because they're not going to. If McCarthy's healthy, they don't want Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
but if he's slow coming back, if he's got a little,
but he's got so much time. He's got so much time.
Yeah, but I'm sure there's a timetable and goals he has to hit.
And
if he's not hitting them,
it's the beginning of April. Like, I just don't. It just does. None of it makes sense. It just doesn't make sense to me. Why would not to bring up everything from the past podcast, but the guy literally was doing a workout with DK Metcalf.
So why are we waiting? Is it really this McAfee thing? That annoys me.
It's not.
I said it before. I'll say it again. The Chief is rolling over in his grave right now. If this is the way we're going to announce our free agent signings on some fucking ridiculous show, this isn't Pittsburgh Steelers football.
Well, actually, hold on, because I'm working on a long form piece about kind of the history of the Steelers. One thing you got to remember about the Chief is that they started in 33. They won their first playoff game in 1972. They scored the first touchdown in Pittsburgh Steelers playoff history was the Immaculate Reception. So
holy shit.
The Chief was a very tough guy, and he would have been an Olympic boxer, but he took some money for semi-pro. He didn't want to get the Jim Thorpe treatment. So, yeah, he fought his coaches. He would have stood out back and fought maybe Aaron Rodgers, but this idea that he was more competent than he was, Dan Rooney was the engine of the Steelers. When he got in the picture, they became great. He left the picture, hadn't been so great.
All right, so Dan Rooney's rolling in his grave. And the Chief is too, because this is nonsense. This is a circus at this point.
Right.
And I told you guys in prep, I heard somebody mention the fact that maybe Aaron's waiting for the draft because it's in Green Bay and he used to play in Green Bay and maybe he wants to show the Packers. I don't know. Who knows?
That's also something that just sounds nuts to me. Like I can't fathom that you would wait till then just so you can get more attention over Green Bay. Like, oh my God, like who the fuck thinks that way? Like I just
apparently Aaron. I've been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but what else could it be but attention at this point?
It's not even attention. I just think he's on his timeline, and that's it. And you knew it going in. If you were going to get on
to hell timeline,
he's getting off on making these teams wait and getting all these people talking about him every day, and us and everybody else. I don't know.
There is no pushing him. If Ben was a free agent, and let's say he had signed with San Francisco, he would have strung them along till the very end. These guys, Tom Brady strung along Tampa Bay for a long time.
Yeah, he did.
It's just a matter of, look, these older quarterbacks.
But Tom Brady had like 3, 4, 5 suitors. What if Pittsburgh walked away? Where would he go?
Not really. Tom Brady had suitors at the beginning, but it kind of got down to where it was Tampa or retire.
Or New England. Or go back to New England.
He wasn't going back to New England.
What if the Steelers walked away? Said, okay, we're done with this, Aaron. What does Aaron Rodgers do? He's got no leverage.
He'd sit back and wait for a team's quarterback to get hurt or something.
He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't be on a roster till halfway through training camp, if he's lucky, waiting for an injury.
Fine. Which for him would be
yeah,
fine.
It probably is fine.
Yeah, he wouldn't care.
But then you're kissing that $30-40 million away, because now there are very few teams with that kind of cap space left that can do that. So I don't know, man.
He had $112 million guaranteed from the Jets, and he restructured and knocked it down.
I'm not saying he needs money. He definitely doesn't need money.
So is this now you're saying this is as much a risk for Rodgers as it is for the Steelers now?
If the Steelers ever grew some stones and walked away, who's he going to start for?
Who are they going to walk away to?
Well, if I were them, at this point, I would be whispering to Dulac, hey, we're talking to Atlanta. We've had discussions about Atlanta. I would whisper to Schefter, hey, we're talking to the Patriots about trading up for Shador. Stop putting some pressure back on Aaron Rodgers. He's going to say, holy shit, they're going to move on from me? Maybe I should sign now. What's the harm in that?
He would laugh in their face. He'd be like, go ahead. You want Kirk Cousins? Knock yourself out. You'd pay him more than you would have been paying me.
If the Steelers walk away, he's screwed. He's screwed.
It goes both ways. They're both screwed. Like that's the way I don't think it works out well for him. I mean, he'll wait for an injury or something, but at the same time, it's even more horrible for them because then they're really fucked. They've got nothing. Then they do have to make that trade or trade to move up in the draft if they want to, something like that, or just go with Rudolph and whatever happens, happens.
They could do that too. They've said they're comfortable doing that. Whether they actually mean it or not is another story.
Because they're comfortable going 9-8 because that'll still keep butts in seats and they'll make money. Period.
Yeah, look, there are other options out there. Even though Tennessee is probably going to take Cam Ward with the number 1 overall, they have a relationship with Rodgers. The GM does. They could bring him in for a year and let Ward sit behind him. There's places he can go. He just doesn't want to. And he's not going to be pushed. This whole idea of Aaron Rodgers is going to get pushed, it's not going to happen. If you throw the gauntlet down and say, you sign today or else, he'll go, fuck you or else. And then you're in a position where you got to come groveling back. And whatever you were paying, add another $5 million.
If I tell him I'm done, I don't go back. No way. If I say this, my deadline,
that would make them look even more like there's no way they'd do that. You can't. They should have set a deadline a long time ago, guys. Now that you've waited this long, you might as well just wait. Like you've already waited 45 days.
You guys are not understanding. There was never going to be a deadline for Aaron Rodgers. If you want Aaron Rodgers, you have to play this game. It's not, okay, well, we're going to do things different because we're the Steelers. You haven't won a playoff game in a decade. What the fuck do I care?
That's fine, but what you're not understanding is they had to have the balls to walk away from this because we talked about this. He's empowered. Well, yeah, you're right. They don't. He's empowered now. He knows he's the shit. When he walks in here, he is going to be a prima donna because he knows they needed me. They groveled. They waited 45, 50, 60 days. I'm the man. And he's not going to listen to anything or anyone says.
And that's news. That's not unique to the Steelers.
I mean, I don't know.
He walked into the Jets and got everybody fired.
Yeah. And the Steelers are making the same mistakes the Jets made. Kissing his ass, doing whatever he wants.
Or Omar is just sitting back licking his chops going, yeah, everybody but me is going to be fired because I might be the only voice in the room who says, nope, don't want it.
I don't know. We don't know who's in on this and who's not in on this.
Except for one man.
We know Tomlin is. Yeah.
Mike Tomlin,
we know, and by proxy, if Tomlin likes it, Omar likes it because he doesn't have a choice.
Well, for good or for bad, everybody is saying now there is no doubt that Mike Tomlin's driving the organization, which means all that national media, stuff they like to say that, oh, if only he could get a quarterback. Now it's all exposed. Tomlin's driving this bus. If he misses with Rodgers, that's 3 in a row. There probably won't be a fourth. Now, that being said, you got to look at it. Say, look, we as Steeler fans either want change or we don't. If we want change, Aaron Rodgers is the agent of change because it either works great and we change our fortunes, which we all hope, and we become a playoff and Super Bowl contender again, or Aaron Rodgers is the agent of change who gets everybody in the organization fired and Art Rooney retires and then a new regime comes in. So,
as much as that sounds great, they could have a bad season with Aaron Rodgers, move on from him, and nobody gets fired. Would that shock you?
If they had a bad season with Aaron Rodgers, now you're looking at, and there is a minority ownership group here that will drive this bus.
Yeah, but they don't have any power, Bob. The minority group, they don't have any power.
He's got Tomlin fired during the AB thing.
Nah.
Tomlin has never been that much in danger of being fired, dude.
Well, there is a growing, and Fittipaldo and other guys have talked about this. There is a growing anger in the minority base. And look, Art has sold off more of the team than Dan or the Chief ever did. I want to say it's up to like 20, 25%. When you start to own 20%, 25%, there is no more fuck you, you do it my way, because Art is the one who saved him during the AB thing. They've sold off a little more of the team since then. So yeah, things could change. But at some point, something's got to change. Somebody's got to go to him and say, either put your son in charge or we're going to, hostile takeovers happen in corporate America all the time.
Yeah, I just think it's we've seen this organization, the way they operate too long to expect one quarterback to make major change. I hope you're right. I hope it does, but I'm not expecting it. Let's go over a few of the league rule things that happened this week. The Steelers proposed, I Zoom calls for all free agents, and that passed. People making jokes online. It's pretty funny. Like the Steelers don't want the players to see the equipment room, so they want to do everything by Zoom. It's pretty hilarious. But
You know they want to put the camera in front of the 6 Lombardis behind them.
yeah,
That's what they want.
they want Mike Tomlin to be able to talk to these free agents
And that.
before,
Right.
so that gives them an advantage. And hey, good for them, it passed. So
Yeah, they said that's going to change things. But then again, now, okay, so legal tampering a little bit before you can do Zoom calls. So you know what's going to happen? They're going to make those fucking deals on Zoom calls. And then when legal tampering starts, we're going to get even more announcements of, hey, how did that happen? It's only been open for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
yeah,
But you're right.
But
You're
you
right.
got a 4-year deal. But technology's going this way. I mean, for better or for worse, during COVID, we kind of all learned that things can be done remotely. Business has changed. It's time to get with the modern. Hey, we can do things by Zoom. We don't need to have everybody come in. You can do a lot with a Zoom or a Teams or a StreamYard call. Shout out to our platform. So
yeah, that's not surprising. The Steelers voted against the tush push. Not surprising there either because they can't do it. They can't operate the play, so of course they're going to vote against it. They've tabled it, I guess, for another meeting. They need 24 votes to overturn. They only had 16, so they're going to talk about it a little bit more.
Wow, is that it? I thought they'd get more.
Yeah, that's all I got so far. Well, there's 32 teams. It's probably 10 or 12 that run it right now and run it fairly well, and I'm sure there's some teams on the fence. So I don't have a strong opinion either way. I don't know about you guys. I'm fine with it if it stays, and figure out how to run it right. Then you won't be at a disadvantage.
The thing that bothers me about the play, and if they would make it fair on the other side, I'd be all about it, no problem. But a defensive player cannot push his player into the line. So if the defense can't push, and bear in mind, this offense being able to push rule, that's a very recent change. It happened back in 2013. I don't know why it took so long for somebody to figure out we could get away with this shit. And kudos to Philly. I mean, it's a rule; they're allowed to do it. It's not an illegal play,
right?
Nope.
But I think if you really want to outlaw this, you got to do what Washington did in the playoffs. Get to the point of make it asinine. We're going to jump. We're going to jump. We're going to jump. And when you warn us that, hey, if you keep doing it, we're going to give them a touchdown. Fuck you. You explain to the national media and, more importantly, the gambling community why you gave Philly a touchdown for us jumping off sides.
The Chiefs did that in the Super Bowl, right? The guy did it like 3 times. Yeah,
No, it was Washington.
Oh, okay.
All right.
And the
I remember
NFC
seeing
championship game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was
All right,
Frank Luvu.
One more ball camera technology. I don't know why this is taking so long, but now they're going to measure these first downs by, I guess, a chip in the ball and video rather than the refs. They're still going to have the chain gang, but they're going to use this for, I assume, close plays and, close first downs and stuff like that. I don't know why this took so long. I think they do it in soccer. They've been doing it in soccer for like 5 years now, goal line technology and stuff. They have this. The NFL's a little slow to move. They don't want to spend money.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I even think they should have lights and stuff that light up every time you get the first down, almost like in hockey when you score a goal and the lights
that would
go
be kind
off.
of cool, actually. That's a great idea,
Yeah.
Dave. That's a really good idea.
Shoot off fireworks from the stadium.
Let's jazz this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Going back to the tush push for a second.
Yep.
TJ, I did hear, I forget who it was, one of the voices on the radio suggested this, that because they were talking about Tyler Warren, but they were like, hey, if you took a guy like Darnell and put him under center and just maybe sit Cam Hayward behind him and just pushed him, who the hell is going to stop that? I mean, even if you get the push, I mean, he's just 8 feet tall. He's going to fall forward and get a yard.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we all believe that they're not using him to his full capacity, like in the passing game, or in stuff like that. I don't think they've taken full advantage of him. I don't know. It's Artie Smith and his
scared to death to get him hurt.
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to, really. At the end of the day, I think they are.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know why they didn't have Justin Fields running that every short.
Yeah.
Although I take that back because remember in the Colts game they tried it and he fell down and then they lost a half a yard and then they did it again and he got stuffed. So
Did
They
they? I
probably
don't
don't
remember
practice
that.
it enough. They don't practice it enough.
and then they
Oh.
didn't really run it the rest of the year.
Wasn't there a game though where they brought him in, like Russ started, but they tried to integrate with
Yeah,
Justin, and that's
that's
where
exactly
it got
what
stopped too? Yeah, I remember that as well.
Yeah, well, the one thing I thought was interesting is they lined up in that short, and then Fields a couple times just took the step and then took off outside and,
Yeah.
and got the first down because everybody's so bunched up, and then
Mhm.
if you're running that play and everybody's bunched up, if you have the stones to toss it or pass it, which a couple of teams have, as
Seems
long as
wide
you
open,
complete
right?
the pass, it's
Yeah.
wide open.
It seems like it would be. Let's go on to some other news. Joe Milton
oh.
got.
Wait,
Go ahead.
1 second. One thing in the owners' meeting that I just wanted to bring up. So they have now implemented that you can coaches challenge face masks, hitting a defenseless player. So if you throw the flag, they can challenge it. The thing that pisses me off about that is if they don't call it, you can't challenge it. So if you miss the obvious face mask in the end zone, like what happened in Minnesota last year,
It happens a
there's
lot.
no way to fix that play.
Yeah.
Why are you fucking around? Okay, you can reverse a bad call, but you can't reverse a missed call. I mean, I get it. You would be reviewing every play. I understand, but it's still a coach's challenge. He's got to have the balls to throw the flag on it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get it called.
Right. It's not like he can challenge every single fucking play. So
Yeah, I don't understand why they do it. I think they're covering for the referees, to be honest with you. I don't think they want the referees to be embarrassed, so they keep begrudgingly.
yeah, because
opening up
that's
things
how
to be
bad
challenged.
they are. That we have to review
Yeah.
fucking everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joe Milton got traded today. Another quarterback news for a 5th-round pick, but the Patriots had to kick in a 7th
Yep.
with Milton to get the 5th. There's some talk the Steelers were in on it, and their offer was actually better, but Milton wanted to go to Dallas, and New England felt obligated or felt
Yeah.
out of the goodness of their heart.
Yep.
Well,
They
they
would
told
give
him
him.
he could trade, so I
Then-
guess they were like, wherever.
I mean, the difference between a 5th and a 4th, if that's what was offered, somebody said it was better. So let's say someone offered him a 4th, and you're not going to take that because the player. I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like a good way to run an organization, right?
Not to mention the fact it just tells you if that's true, then you did not want Milton's got a 5-cent head. Why the fuck would you go sit behind Dak Prescott in Dallas, who's making
I don't-
$190 million?
Yeah, I don't get that either.
Yeah, he's got no. Well, Dak's hurt a lot. Maybe that's in the back of his mind. The guy's
Don't
hurt
matter.
all the time.
They're paying him all that money. He's going to be the guy. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know
mean-
why he wanted. I mean, other than he's a Dallas. The first thing I thought of was he's a Cowboys fan and he wanted
Yeah,
to go to
maybe.
That's not
Maybe
really
he
thinking
think
with
it-
your head. Your Bob's right though.
Maybe
I mean,
he
the
figured
Steelers
not even
have-
he could overthrow CD Lamb.
Yeah, but
I mean,
the Steelers have the opportunity. Like, why would you not take that opportunity?
I think most people in the league think Aaron's coming here, so maybe he figured, yeah, Aaron's going there. I'm not.
Yeah, but
But then
Aaron's about to
Aaron's
be
going to play 1 year.
42. Yeah, like
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. That seems like a dumb decision for me, but
Well,
and it wasn't just the Steelers; it was the Giants. There was a list of 4 or 5 teams that made offers,
Yeah.
and he picked Dallas. I don't know.
how
The
bad
Giants
is
is-
Trey Lance? I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
how bad does he have to be?
must be really bad because damn, like
He's
jeez.
cooked. He's cooked. I don't think he's going to ever play again. Like he's never going to be a starter again.
Yeah.
That was-
I've never gotten to really watch the kid. Like I just remembered he was drafted. Really, was he a 1st-round pick by 49ers?
Yes.
oh
They
yeah,
tra-
the
and they-
49ers traded up for him.
Yeah,
That's the
and then bang, all of a sudden, kid's nothing. Like
You know, honestly, if the 49ers don't luck into Purdy, Kyle Shanahan is probably fired because
actually. If you read the stuff, I don't think Shanahan wanted him.
right.
I think the general manager and the president of the 49ers
Oh.
wanted him because he wanted he wanted Mac Jones. So remember the rumors that the 49ers wanted Mac Jones?
not much better.
Not much better, no.
Well, to be honest, though, if you look
Could
at
Mac Jones beat Brock Purdy?
could
Yeah.
Mac Jones have been, I kind of
Probably.
could.
At
But
least.
he's got the legs like Purdy.
Well, I don't know if he's that mobile. No, but
I don't know. I don't think he's quite that. So
Well, Purdy's
I
not
wouldn't go there.
really. San Francisco doesn't ask the quarterbacks to run. That's why they had Debo.
He's still way more athletic than Mac
Yeah,
Jones,
I mean,
though, Bob. Like, he
Mac
can
Jones is so
move.
stiff.
If he has to move and get out of the pocket and go, he can do it. Mac Jones, not so much. In fact, Mac Jones tried and about got fucking killed, remember? He got destroyed when he tried it. Had to limp after the game. He was crying. They're making fun of him for crying or something. It was not a good look for him. But, yeah, no, they're not the same guy.
I mean,
Sauber makes a good point. A 7th for Milton, and the mainstream media was saying Milrow at 21.
yeah.
Milrow's more the new flavor, more than, he could end up just like Joe Milton. He could, absolutely. But
There's a better
You know.
chance he's closer to Joe Milton than
Correct.
a starting quarterback.
I probably agree with you there.
We don't, like, this should be a non-conversation. Milrow, no.
Yeah, I agree with you. My only point was it wouldn't shock me if the Steelers did it. I don't want it to happen. Maybe in the 3rd or 4th, I could live with it. You take a chance with a kid with that kind of athleticism. Maybe it works out. Maybe it doesn't. But
Yeah. Not 3rd.
Not
I
the
can't
first.
do. I can't do
even the 3rd.
either.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Dave.
You don't have a 2nd-round pick. Like,
Yeah.
what's hamstringing it is they don't have the 2nd-round pick. So if you're not going to trade down, then you can't waste that on a guy that's projected day 3 guy to take him on the 2nd day. You can't do that. You've got 2 picks. You can't do it. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no way.
No, I agree. I agree. But
Now, if you trade down and acquire picks to where you've got a 2nd now, maybe an extra 3rd, maybe an extra 4th, and another 5th, then okay, maybe then you may take some more chances. But man, without that 2nd-round pick, there ain't no fucking way I'd do it. Nope.
There is a guy who's languishing, and from what I was reading today, Detroit is very unhappy with Hooker. I don't know why. You got.
I heard you say that. Why would they be? Is he starting? Maybe he wants to be traded because he knows he's not going to start.
Oh,
Maybe he's causing.
Well, they think that he hasn't developed enough as a backup quarterback, and they actually brought Kyle Allen in to compete with him, which I don't know how
That's
much
not much
competition that
competition.
really is.
yeah.
But it's leaking out. They are not happy. So if you're not happy with him,
I take a flyer on him.
Yeah, he went to 3rd. He was a 1st-round talent because of the injury. I think now all of a sudden, okay, there was upside with him coming out of college versus a guy like Milton. I would absolutely try to, wiggle a 4th or a 5th for him if I could get it, because if I'm getting Hooker, arguably that's just as good or better. I saw the report today with Joe Milton, by the way. I was listening to Palazzolo from the 33rd team. He said if Milton was in this draft, he would be quarterback no worse than quarterback 6 and maybe even quarterback 4.
Wow.
That
Really?
tells you how bad this draft really is, and all this Jackson Dart. I pray to God
He wouldn't have Milton over Jackson Dart.
He didn't have him very
he's
far
6th.
behind.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But anyway, we have
Real
visits
quick
to announce.
shot
This
by
is going
Bob right there at the end.
We have visits to announce, and this is going to make Bob happy. Jackson Dart is one of the visits coming in. Matthew Golden, wide receiver from Texas. Azare Thomas, corner from Florida State. We both like him. Who else do we got? Caleb Johnson, the running back from Iowa, is coming in.
Surprised. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah. 3rd, 4th round.
Dude, they got so far. They've got 6 running backs scheduled to come in. 2 QBs, 4 wide receivers, 4 defensive linemen, and a corner.
Joshua Farmer was announced today too.
Yeah,
So-
that's I had that on
Love
my list.
Joshua
Yeah.
Farmer. I'm hoping they wouldn't reach for him in the 1st round if there was a run on defensive tackles, but if we could somehow get back in the 2nd round, to me, that's the guy. That's the guy in the 2nd round who I think would give us just as much as he probably is not going to be the Grant, Walter Nolan, top talent, but he's going to be very, very good.
Yeah, I know you're high on him. I have to watch him more. I haven't really watched much of Joshua Farmer. Alan Saunders put out something interesting today. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that the Steelers have met with 3 times at the Senior Bowl, at the Combine, and have a visit. Those 7 guys are Matthew Golden, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milrow, Alfred Collins, your guy Jaden Higgins, Bob, Azariah Thomas, and Jalen Noel. Those are the
Thomas
triple threats.
Yeah, Thomas is a guy I really like. Again, unless we traded back, I wouldn't want to see him until the end of the first round, early second. He's a Joey Porter clone. I think it was Pickensburg on social media today, or maybe it was Portersburg, one of those two guys, who had said something about Azariah Thomas. And I said, hey, look, it's actually a bookend clone. I wouldn't hate it. I like the idea of it, but as Steeler fans, we would have to accept that for the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to see a lot of fucking yellow on the field when they're playing.
Yeah. And he ran like 4.5 too, right? So he's not super fast either. So
Yeah, he wasn't really on my radar. And then I started looking at his stuff. 6'1.5", 197 pounds. He's projected to be a plus starter eventually on NFL.com. He only allowed a QBR of 50.2 when targeted. That's pretty good. So yeah. I mean,
he's a little grabby, but I don't hate
so
that.
definitely Joey Porter Jr. clone.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If you put those are two long press corners. If you put those guys on the outside, it wouldn't be right away because you got Slay for next year. But bring that along. That could be a really nice quarterback tandem for the Steelers for a long time.
I have here that he didn't really do much at the combine. He only did the broad jump at 10'2". So
I thought he ran at his pro day and it was like 4.5.
okay. Yeah, I got here. He didn't do much at the combine. He just did the broad jump.
That's what Joey Porter ran.
Yeah, he is a Joey Porter clone, pretty much. He's close.
They have his production score of a 73, which is 9th overall out of all corners.
The corners, yeah.
So that's pretty good. Athleticism score was 65, which ranks him 24th. So, not sure it's a first round pick kind of guy, but
no,
yeah,
he's really jumped up though. He was a third. Now he's early second, late first kind of guy. He's got intangibles, which if you watch him, imagine if Jahdae Barron was 3 inches taller.
Okay.
Not as fast as Jahdae Barron, but he's got those kind of Jahdae Barron intangibles.
With a limp. Let me ask you guys this question though, because I wanted to ask you this when I saw the list of guys they're bringing in to visit. It's mostly wide receivers and running backs right? First, then wide receivers and defensive linemen are tied. Does that kind of make you think that like they're definitely leaning towards more like running back and wide receiver? Are they actually going to lean more into playmakers in the beginning, or what? Since all these guys they're bringing in on the defensive line, are any of these guys projected first rounders? Pegas isn't. I don't think Black is. Is Farmer?
No.
Farmer's close, isn't he?
No, Farmer's.
He's a borderline first.
Right. That's the only one I could think of. And Elijah Roberts, I don't think he's
not even close.
So
no, not even close.
To me, that kind of makes me wonder. Doesn't that make you kind of wonder that maybe they're not targeting defensive linemen first round?
That, or they're going first round, and they don't feel like they have to. They have to have them in for a visit.
Yeah.
Their mind's made up, like on a Grant or a
maybe
Walter Nolan or somebody.
Greg makes a good point about Alfred Collins, but I'm seeing him. Yes, in the third, he would be a great pick, and that's where I was thinking he would go. But I'm seeing mocks now where he's early second, and I've seen some where he's all the way up into the first, which
so he's rising.
Just tells you how crazy this draft is. I think it's all bullshit. I think this year, over many other years, I think every draft expert is guessing, and I also think some are just going, hey, these guys are going to go need. And I don't think that's the way it's going to go. I think people are going to go into the best available guy because I'm not going to reach at 15 for need if the guy who I thought was the top of the class is gone. I'm not going to take the third or fourth best guy.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either.
And
I think you're right.
It's just amazing, like the draft in general, from January to April, how much these guys' projections fluctuates is incredible. I have seen first-round picks drop all the way to 7th by the time the draft comes around, and then I've seen the exact opposite, where a 7th rounder rose all the way up to 4th or 3rd, and it's just like, but there's so many guys that you see this happen with, so I'm really not surprised at all that he's rising like
What I've heard about that, Dave, is it's the media catching up to what NFL thinks on a lot of these guys. The NFL has their mind made up on these guys, and the media just doesn't know. And the longer the process goes, the more they talk to guys, the more they say, "Oh shit, you really think this guy's a first rounder when we had him at the third or fourth round?" It doesn't matter. You could be the biggest draft expert in the world, but if you're not in the league, you don't know what this team, teams value these guys at. So you might be right on the player, but this is what they think, and that's where he's going to go. And we bring up Jackson Dart as the example. Everyone had him third, fourth round at the beginning. Well, and that might be what his talent is. I'm not saying that he's 100% guaranteed going to be a star in this league, but the league is it's coming close now where he's going to go late first, early second. That's where
it's the same thing with Shuck.
Shuck's another example.
In January, he was a 6th round pick.
Yeah.
And some, I think he was still there in the 7th in these mock drafts. And now look, there's talks of him going clear in the 1st round possibly.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I really think, and especially the Dart stuff, and I know we've kind of beat this to death, but I will tell you this. It reminds me so much of Matt Corral. Matt Corral was going to.
He's trying to reel me in. He's trying to reel me in.
Yeah,
I'm not taking a bait, Bob. I'm not taking it.
No. I'm just saying. But if you look back at their careers, it's eerily similar. The Lane Kiffin quarterbacks. Look, somebody is going to be. If Dart goes to the wrong team, and honestly, probably 28 of the 32 teams are the wrong team. If Dart goes to the wrong team, he's going to get on the field this year, and everybody's going to go bust. We told you, bust. If this kid goes to the right offensive system and sits for a year, maybe he turns into something. But if he gets thrown out there, he's not ready. He's not, and I thought Palazzolo made a great point on this. This draft, more than anything, he's like 3 through 10 are developmental guys. They could be really good. If they go to the right place and the right fit and the right scheme, they could be really good. But if they go to the wrong place, and let's be honest, Pittsburgh with Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin is the wrong place for a developmental quarterback. You need a polish.
That's one thing we can 100% agree on, Bob. As much as I'd like to see Dart as a Steeler, I don't know if that's the best place for. And I've said that a couple times on this podcast now. I don't know. I don't think he necessarily, I'll disagree with you, or I don't think putting him out in the first year is such a bad thing if he's in the right team. But you could say that about a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks I wouldn't want to see in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh needs a guaranteed guy that's good, that they don't have to mold too much into being a great quarterback. As far as Dart goes, you say a 4 or 5 teams, I'll say about 12 or 13 teams that he could play for. I heard a rumor today that Miami's looking at him. They're gonna put him behind.
That's the right team. That's the right team.
They'll play him behind what's his name, wait for the next concussion, and he'll be starting.
Yeah.
Somber, this question, where do we get Lacey drafted? I think we talked about this a couple episodes ago. Or maybe it was the draft show.
It had to be a draft show because we didn't talk about it.
Lacey's an interesting case. The kid is a knucklehead, obviously. I think it's vehicular homicide he's charges. I don't know where that court case stands.
Involuntary manslaughter?
Oh, maybe that's it too.
Maybe with a car, though. I'm looking it up.
LSU,
yeah, it was definitely
right?
some kind of
LSU, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did
LSU
the Saints
kids
take him in the 6th, 7th round?
I'd take a flyer on him in the 6th, 7th round. I would.
I think you got to be careful because, I mean, let's face it, if he does lose in court, and he's going away for at least a couple of years.
I don't, like I said, I don't know where his court stands right now.
That's why you do a 7th. It's a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Felony hit and run. Felony hit and run is.
I knew it was something to do with a car.
Because if you take it and he does not go away, and if he's a talent that's a lot higher than a 7th round pick, you look like a fucking genius.
Yep.
It's 7th round pick. It's never projected to really do that much anyway.
No, a 7th, even a 6th. I mean,
right.
How many players?
Right.
There's only Antonio Brown's one and Tom Brady once in a lifetime.
When you get
guys.
Between 5th and 7th round,
yeah,
those guys are not supposed to end up being like this. There is the exception, of course, but most of the time, no. With
him, it's not just that hit and run. It's like he's the guy on the field you see making machine gun gestures every time he scores a touchdown, and he's
and in fairness, even though he's an LSU wide receiver, this kid was not a slam dunk first round pick. He was a top 10-ish wide receiver.
Yes,
but he is still from LSU, so
I mean,
He's
he's still
talented.
projected higher than if you get him in the 7th, Bob, is my point. Like,
If
that's
he's
why
from-
I could
theoretically,
see,
yes.
or, maybe a team out on the West Coast takes a chance, get him away from that area altogether. Maybe that is a better, a fresh start for him location wise. Maybe they take a chance on him in the 7th. The talent's there, so I could definitely see a team taking a shot.
I do remember reading about this case, and I think his lawyers are saying it wasn't him that did the hit. He hit a car. I believe one of the people died, right?
Yeah,
Ooh.
78-year-old person died.
Yeah. So
negligent homicide.
yeah. So
But he wasn't driving?
his lawyers claiming he wasn't driving. The police are claiming he was driving. So there's the rub.
Oh, man.
Therein lies the rub.
That's bad whenever the – all right.
Well, I think Somber's got a good point where it looks like he's got a friend who was in the situation, didn't run, but got 3 years served one.
4-6.
I think it was a 4 or 5. I think it was 4 or 5 because I remember reading it and being a little disappointed.
Reports
at
are
4 or 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
not a burner, but he is a bigger receiver.
Okay.
Plus, the kid hasn't played football in all season, right? I think this happened early in the season, so he's probably not in game shape. He probably, training and running, he could probably put that a little under 4 or 5.
Right, and he was banned from the combine, so
Yeah.
it really just depends on.
If he's there in the 7th. Well, they don't have a 7th. If he's there in the 6th,
They do
I'd
have
take a
one
flyer.
7. They have one.
I thought didn't they lose all their 7ths? No.
No, they
No,
have
they have
one.
one. They have one.
Okay, so I take a flyer with him on the 7th. What the hell? What do you have to lose?
I mean, you get team control for 4 years. Let's say he's guilty. Let's say he does a year or two. Now, 2 years down the road in prison, I mean, does he turn into Plaxico, who came out of prison, turned it around, and still had a nice career? Or does he turn into just one of these guys who you never hear from again?
And no offense to Somber's friend, but I'm sure he's going to have better representation than whoever this guy Somber do. And these lawyers, it's in Louisiana. LSU is king down there. I wouldn't be surprised if he got out with, community service and
slap on the wrist,
suspended sentence.
That's why if I'm the team, a 7th round pick, you probably take a chance.
Yeah.
Well, if it starts to become evident that somebody thinks he's not going to go away, you could see somebody take a flyer on him in the 5th.
In the 5th, yeah, I was just thinking that too.
Yeah, absolutely. If we get closer to the draft this month and it looks like he's actually going to get off with it, you definitely, absolutely, you could see a team taking a chance with a higher pick than that. I can see that too.
Maybe we ought to have
Lots of time
Wilson
to learn the playbook in a joint.
Maybe we ought to get Roman Wilson thrown in jail for a few months.
I was just thinking that he'd probably come out ahead of Roman Wilson when he got out of jail. They're taking a running back, right? I mean, they've got like what? How many running backs were on that list, Dave? 5?
6.
6. They're going to take a running back at some point in this draft.
Yeah, DJ Giddens, Dylan Sampson, Brashell Tootin, Ollie Gordon, Jaden Blue, and Caleb Johnson. Those are their 6.
All 3rd, 4th round guys. 2nd, 3rd, 4th round guys.
Hampton's probably a first rounder. I heard today.
Oh yeah, beside Hampton and Sampson's probably a little up there too. But the other guys are later on.
One thing, just going back to Jackson Dart for a minute, I heard today was an interesting statistic. He didn't throw a red zone interception for his last 2 seasons in college, so I guess that's something.
He also led he's the largest depth of target of any of these quarterbacks too. So he threw more deep balls than any quarterback in this draft. There's things you can pick him apart, but there's things to like about the kid too. He's probably 3rd best athlete out of all the quarterbacks.
In this class,
behind Ward
really
and Noro. Yeah.
I don't think Ward is a particularly great athlete.
Yeah,
like
no,
Ward's
pretty good.
He's not like other Ward.
He's not Milrow, but
no, I do feel Ward is a classic pocket passer, which will make him successful at the next level. I don't see him coming in and doing like a Jaden Daniels kind of deal where he's a dual threat. And my God, I mean, Jaden Daniels, which, if you followed me last year, you knew how high I was on Jaden Daniels. I said he was the best quarterback in the draft repeatedly. Imagine how good he's going to be this year. He was already a good passer. He's going to get even better.
This guy Bashil Tootin is super interesting. I mean, he tested ridiculous.
Oh, I like him. I like him.
if we get him in the fourth, or I still like the Martinez kid too, Damian Martinez. I also like DJ Giddens. So if we get any of those three in the fourth,
Yeah, I like
no, they're
Giddens
not
of those
yeah,
three.
they're not O'Marion, but they're really good.
Yep.
Thank you. That's what I would rather them do.
Somber doesn't trust Tootin at all. I've heard some people. I heard a podcast the other day where they thought Tootin was a fifth, sixth round pick, and didn't have good instincts. But this the physical talent there is undeniable.
Yeah.
You know, he ran a 4.3, and he
Right.
jumped, and it's pretty
The best
pretty
part
interesting
about
prospect.
best part about a fourth or fifth round guy, if he doesn't work out, you ain't paying him anything, so it's okay. He can go. You know, if personally, I like bigger backs who can run. So if I can't get O'Marion Hampton in the first, and you give me Damian Martinez in the fourth, and you trade a little bit of speed for that, but he's still faster than Najee was. I like that kid. I think he is a guy who could. I think the fans would get behind this. Steeler fans would like him because he runs people over, and you still got Jalen as your quick change of pace back. But then again, I like Trevor Etienne. There's a bunch of guys I like. I like the kid
the
from
running backs.
Delaware, Marcus Yarns.
The running back position is crazy.
Yeah.
Let's go back to that list of Allen Saunders. What do you make of these triple threat guys? That's a lot of attention for these guys. I just don't.
I can't see us passing Matthew Golden. Sorry. I can't see us passing Matthew Golden.
If he's there at 21, yeah, they won't. They'd be crazy to. They'd be crazy to. I know you guys want to trade back off of that, and I guess I can be talked into it, but Matthew Golden with these two wide receivers, now you're talking.
Tootin had 4 fumbles this past season.
Is that
the same as?
Yes, we know. The guy you called fat, and he looks like a freaking Adonis, dude.
But same as
Ashton Denty looks like an Adonis out there. He's a monster.
Look, when you eat a lot of hot dogs and you're fat, you recognize another fat guy.
He's not fat. Jesus Christ. Yeah, Matthew Golden, I think, is everyone's favorite at 21. That's best case scenario, right?
I think if it's Aaron, and come on, it's 90% it's Aaron. I think if it's Aaron, you got to go Golden, and maybe you get a second for Pickens. But even if you don't, that wide receiver core for Rodgers to play with would be pretty special. It'd be a special group.
You get Golden, you come back in the third, get Giddens or Martinez or somebody like that. Whew, cooking now.
Right,
we have offense.
Then. Yeah,
you have offense. Imagine.
And there's guys, and I cannot reiterate this enough because I know we need defensive line. I get it. I see it on social media constantly. We're going to go get a defensive lineman, Ray Fittipaldo and all those guys. We're going to go get a defensive lineman. The defensive lineman ain't going to play. He's not going to play. I don't care how good he is. He's not going to play. He's going to play 1 out of every 3 or 4 downs. I'm sorry. Give me a weapon. And let's go try to beat teams 53-49 because Lord knows
you're preaching to the choir, brother. Yeah, preaching to the choir.
If JJ Pegas, one of those guys, falls to the 4th, you're fucking cooking then.
I saw a mock today where Pegas fell to the 6th. I was like,
yeah, I've seen him
who's
fall
running
deep.
that draft engine?
Yeah.
We all want the offense, but we got to remember who's running this operation. It's Mr. Tomlin. And he got his ass handed to him at the end of the season. They couldn't stop a run to save their lives.
No, they cannot.
So, would it shock you if Grant's the pick? Would it shock you if Nolan's the pick in the first round? Pick your defensive tackle that you think Hampton from whoever the kid is from Oregon.
I will say
I think that would be a bad pick. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Dave.
I won't be upset at the same time if they go that route too. I won't, honestly. Like, I don't mind them fixing the run defense, obviously, after giving up 300 yards to the Ravens in the playoffs. Yeah. But if they go the route of getting more playmakers, that will make me happy too, depending on who they pick. Yeah. Golden, I'm all for the
happy. Playmakers.
If they go Golden, I'm fucking happy.
Yeah, I'm ecstatic, dude.
At 21, let's just say Golden's gone, which is possible. He could go as high as 12 to the Cowboys. But let's just say he's gone, and it's Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, and those, you're starting to get into the B tier receivers like Ibuka and Burden.
Okay.
Then I'm not upset with the Grant Nolan pick because you're
The value's there. That value's there. It's fair.
Yeah. But then is Hampton there? Is Genty there? I think I saw Starkey was mentioning him today. He's a guy who does a lot of mocks. And he had Hampton and Genty going in the top 12.
I'd be surprised at that. I really would.
Top 12 for 2 running backs?
I don't know. I have heard that too, but
wow.
I
That'd
think
be
it's
like the Bijan Jameer Gibbs draft.
Yeah. I think Jeremiah has them in his top 15, both of them.
Yeah.
I think in his latest. So it's possible. It's a wild draft because I know here in New England, the Patriots fans are just dying for Shedeur to get taken in the top 4 so they can get either the Colorado corner or Penn State edge. That's what they want so bad. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen anymore. It seems like Shedeur is going to fall a little bit.
Hell yeah, somber West Virginia, baby.
What I miss?
Take me home, country roads.
Oh, please don't. Please don't.
If they went tackle, I mean, just imagine for a minute. They confuse all of us and go fucking tackle. Is it automatic that Fatanu moves into guard? And does he immediately become the starter over Isaac?
That tells us, at the very least, one of them they're very, very worried about.
I will lose
if they
my
draft a tackle.
fucking mind if they take another tackle for the third year in a row.
Would it surprise you, guard? Would it surprise you, guard? I wouldn't be,
There is not one.
That's the upset that we're not watching.
Well, wait, have you guys seen anything to indicate they're interested in guards?
No, but this is how weird shit happens, man.
Have you, Bob? Because I haven't.
Yeah, in the mid rounds, not in the first round.
Okay.
I really think Tate Rutledge in the 4th is in play.
Well, and see,
everybody
I
loves
don't
Booker.
put it past them to do that too.
That's what I'm saying.
I see them on day 3 grabbing a guy. I do see them doing that. If the draft falls right to them, and that guy that they like's there, I can see them doing it. But not
in the 1st or the 4th. You talking?
No. The 4th and beyond. Day 3.
I can see the kid Zabel if he's still there. That is actually a temptation. I wouldn't do it, but I could see a guy like Wydell who
That's what I mean. We're trying to be the Eagles. We're trying to build up our offensive line. Everyone loves the kid Booker from Alabama. They say he is off the charts, a leader, a good kid in the clubhouse, blah, blah, blah. And you know how the Steelers love Alabama players.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, but I'm saying if we're shocked on draft day, that might be one of the things we're shocked about.
Yeah,
the Steelers keep building
it would be a shock to take a wide receiver or a running back, as much as it might shock the national media.
I mean,
I don't think the fan base would be shocked.
Dude, Ratledge, 6'6", 208 pounds, out of Georgia.
He was like, I put him in my last mock this past Tuesday. He's like 9-point-something RAS. He tested crazy good.
Talking about Booker or Rutledge?
Rutledge.
Yeah.
Ratledge. I think it's Ratledge, actually.
Yeah,
Ratledge. Sorry.
Thinking of Jeff Rutledge won the national championship for Alabama back in the okay, that's my old guy.
Yeah, like out of the group I'm looking at here, he's the one, man. Whew.
Yeah, he tested crazy good in his in his mock.
Miles Frazier, but he'll probably be taken higher in the draft, right?
He's second, third round. He might be there.
That's what I meant. He'll be higher than Rutledge or Ratledge or whatever. Ratledge, yeah.
I like Somber bringing up Charles Grant. He's getting a lot of buzz as like a small school tackle. I could see them taking him third, fourth area, fourth round. They have no backup tackles right now. I think it's Dylan Cook is the only backup tackle they have, and guards. It's
Spencer Anderson.
Spencer Anderson, yeah.
Yeah. Spencer Anderson's their main backup at guard right now because they don't have anybody for that either.
Yeah. Well, versatile piece. I mean, personally, I want them to re-sign that kid. I love that kid. He may not ever be an all-pro or a Pro Bowl guy, but what a valuable guy to have on the team.
He is a valuable guy to have.
Yeah.
And unlike somebody who will not be named, who's now getting paid $83 million, nice fucking
I'm
job.
still not over that. I'm still not. That's insane.
This kid taught himself almost every position on the offensive line, and there was a rumor he was going to back up at center as well. So good for him for making a career out of himself.
Yeah.
I was listening to Palazzolo today. Vaughn pointed out about Sanders, and I thought it was an interesting take on Sanders. He was like, this is clearly the second best quarterback of the draft, but he compared him. He's like, if you're thinking spectacular franchise quarterback, no. But if you're thinking Alex Smith, who's a talented, can get your team to a certain spot, high floor guy, that's what he thinks Sanders is. Is a guy who can come in and make you competitive. If you put a good team around him, he can maybe go really far. But he's not.
Yeah, and
he's not going to.
He's not going to carry the team kind of guy.
Exactly.
And I think that's the interest in Shuck, because Shuck's the guy with the big arm, 6'5". He's the guy that could be, if all worlds came together, he could maybe be a franchise quarterback, and that's why I think he's moving up. Obviously, he's got to stay healthy. What, blah blah blah. But he's the 6'5" cannon arm quarterback that you're looking for.
If we did that in the first, and I don't think there's any way
I don't think they will.
the Steelers will do it. But as much as we're starting to become, hey, we're making our own Browns jersey with all the starting quarterbacks. I mean, remember they did the same thing with Brandon Whedon. He's the guy. He's a big, strong guy. Who cares if he's 28 years old? And what did he start? 3 games for the Browns?
Yeah, I think maybe. I don't remember.
I think he started more games for the Cowboys than he did the Browns.
He possibly. It wasn't a lot, that's for sure.
I think he's only 25. I think we keep adding. I called him 27 a couple podcasts ago. I think he's only 25. I think we're running this poor guy's age up
poor
through
guy.
the roof here. He's aged 6 years since the season ended, thanks to us. Poor
and
bastard.
magically, Calvin Austin has shrank 3 inches.
Yeah,
there you go.
That too. I think they're going to take a wide receiver in this draft too. It seems they're doing a lot of work on wide receivers at some point.
Are.
If it's not Golden, it seems like it might be one of these guys. Your guy, I think your guy's going to be gone though, Higgins. But by the time they draft
not
again.
at 21, I don't think he would.
No, but I don't know if they do 21. Maybe.
Well, I don't see him getting past 28. There was a time where I thought we could get him in the 3rd round there, but not anymore. Not after that combine.
Yeah, no, he did well. I wouldn't mind Noel in the 3rd as a slot guy. Yeah. That would be a good pick. I wouldn't be mad at that
Corey
at all.
Horton, I think he's coming out of the 4th. He might be a day 3. You might have to reach for him on day 3.
What about Isaiah Bond, guys?
He's interesting. Real interesting. If he's there in the 3rd, if he's still there in the 3rd,
though, I think he could grow.
Right. He's a burner. Great route runner.
Not Bond, you have to say, I wouldn't say great route runner, but he's more of a down the field go ball type of guy. I think if you're dumping Pickens, Bond as a bring in to replace Pickens could be an interesting fit because he's faster, doesn't quite have the hands of Pickens though.
Okay.
That's the sad part. If they would make our day by drafting
guy, then technically,
I would at this point, I'd rather have a smaller route runner slot guy to go with the 2, unless I was just going to bring it up. If you draft the Steelers, get our hopes up, draft Matthew Golden in the 1st round, and then turn around and immediately trade Pickens like a week later.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate it either, but I want to see the 3 of them. I want to see all of them.
Well, then David's scenario really comes into play. Let's say you do get Golden in the 1st. And you trade Pickens, you get a 2nd, so that you go get a Farmer or one of those other Alfred Collins guy like that, and then come around in the 3rd and Isaiah Bond's still there. Hey,
teammates on the same team.
Horns.
Yeah, I now you're talking. Now you're talking.
Yeah.
That would be a dynamic setup. That would.
Yeah.
A lot of buzz with this guy Kyle Williams from lately. I'm seeing. I think it's Washington State.
Yeah,
supposed to be a pretty good route runner, like a very good route runner.
Jimmy Horn Jr. with the Amazon stats, not just straight line running, but with the Amazon stats, the guy who moved the fastest at the combine was Jimmy Horn Jr.
Interesting guy too. And then there's that kid Thornton at Tennessee, who's a 6'5", 4'3" guy that they've taken a look at. He's interesting.
He's got one skill set only. Yeah. A lot of work to be done there. Late
5th round. Absolutely. Yeah, 5th round flyer. I'm down with that. I'm on record. I'm so sick of this bad offense. I just bring me playmakers. Just keep them coming.
Yeah, no doubt.
Don't stop. All 5 draft picks, playmakers. I'm good. All 6 picks.
Yeah, and in fairness, I'll say something nice about the defense. If all of a sudden our offense becomes a 28, 31 point a game offense, our 25-point a game defense all of a sudden looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's balance, right?
Right.
The defense gives up a little bit more, but your offense can score more. So in an offensive league, that's not such a bad trade-off. Honestly, you got to score points.
Unless if it ain't the Ravens and it ain't the Eagles, people aren't going to run for 300 yards on us. It'll be like 220.
Calais Campbell got signed. I don't think we talked about this. That feels like a miss for me. And I'm killing him for bringing in old guys, but that's a run-stuffing guy that actually can play.
Any free agent who signs anywhere is a miss automatically for us. We don't have any money. I'm telling you, we don't have any money because it's all going to Aaron and DJ.
That could be it. That could be it.
Hashtag Dave hates missing on big guys.
You want to stop the run. Calais Campbell. Throw him in there, on rundowns and run stops.
Upset over a 40-something-year-old D lineman.
Hey, look, I'm not expecting miracles out of the guy, but
yeah, I wouldn't expect anything.
Greg, I haven't looked at this guy that you're mentioning, Nick Nash, but I promise you by the draft show on Sunday, I'll have.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get to him too. I've heard people rave about him.
Another late round, like 7th, Ja'Cory Brooks, the Louisville wide receiver who made a lot of good catches for Shuck.
Yeah, that's something to take a look at too.
When I was watching film on Shuck, he was making a lot of good catches. I think he's a speed guy as well. I'm not quite sure he's that great of a route runner, but he's got a lot of speed, if I remember correctly.
I finally got around to watching Jalen Royals. Have you watched Jalen Royals? He's pretty good.
A little bit.
He's pretty good. I like him.
I don't think I've watched Jalen Royals now.
I like him.
I'm intrigued a little more. I didn't like the Beck kid at first, but I'm starting to get a little more intrigued. I still think there's faster, twitchier players, but those hands are pretty good. I get the appeal.
Yeah. People raved about him at the Combine. Not the Combine, the Senior Bowl. The Senior Bowl. He had, I think it was Senior Bowl MVP, right? And people were just, his work ethic and the way he catches the ball, and not a bad
At this
choice.
point, I'm not looking for good citizens. I'm looking for good players.
But he's got talent too. He's got talent.
Empty out the Texas State Penitentiary, and if we can get 10 or 12 starters out of that,
Killer bees all over again. I'm down.
Exactly.
Bring it all in. Bring all the knuckleheads. Give me them all. Corner in round 1 before we go. Do you think there's any possibility they could do corner in round 1?
If there was the only guy I could see, and I only love him because I think he could be an elite slot corner. I know you think he can be a boundary corner. If Barron somehow fell 21, that's a temptation because elite slot corners, that's the way the game is going. If you got him, I still think you do other things there, but that's the only guy I could see in the first. I love Ravel. I think he can get Darian Porter in the third. There's other guys, and I think Thomas would be too much of a reach.
Don't they like Benjamin Morrison too, though?
Please, God, no.
Don't they like? There's something. They had a dinner or a visit or something with him, didn't they?
Yeah,
he's
a Notre Dame kid, right?
Yeah, the Notre Dame guy.
Yeah.
He played his best football 2 years ago. Okay. His last 2 years at Notre Dame, he's steadily downhill trend, and now he's got a hip injury. Well, I don't like that.
I'm not saying I want him, but they like
the hip injury is scary. The hip injury is scary. The Michigan kid too, if he falls.
And that's
possibly.
another
They
guy
like
who
Michigan
played
kids.
his best football.
Yeah,
in the distant past.
He got also coming off an injury too.
Yeah.
Ravel's interesting. If they had a second round pick because of the upside on him.
Yeah.
I wish he wouldn't have got injured.
Yeah, because if he wouldn't have got injured, he'd probably be top 15, right? I mean,
yeah, no, there's no doubt he'd be top 15.
He's that good.
Yeah, it's just without him running, you're almost committing to a red shirt year.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good point.
And before we go, Walter Nolan didn't work out at the Combine, didn't work out at his pro day.
What the fuck? Why?
All he did was bench. What's that?
He doesn't need to. He's a guy.
That's kind of a red flag for me. I took him in my latest mock.
This
for the
is
Steelers
the way
in the first round.
It's the way it's going. Guys are not working out.
I was going to say
he's not a locked top 5 guy like.
Well, yeah, Bob. Do you feel like it's like with Genty, where he feels I'm the top guy or something?
Yeah,
I don't
he's
got to
not.
do it.
He's at worst the third best defensive guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he feels his protection.
If he works out,
no matter
It
what.
doesn't work out well? Does he drop to the 5th to 6th? Is that what he's worried about?
Maybe he watched what happened with Kenneth Grant, and all of a sudden people forgot he's 6'4", 340 pounds, and said, "Okay, well, because he didn't do great in running, he all of a sudden is only 3 foot tall."
It's not the running; it's the total package compared to other 6'4", 300-pound guys.
There are no
That's what he's getting compared
6'4",
against.
340-pound guys.
I mean, he didn't test well. It's all right. He still could be a good pro.
Brooks was part of why Milrow had better passing stats in 2023 before he transferred to Louisville. Well,
I forgot he was at Alabama, actually.
I did too. I didn't see that. Huh. All right.
If Milrow could throw to himself, I mean, let's face it, 4.3 speed, he'd just pop it up in the air, run downfield, catch it, and run.
What does Sommer say? Apparently, he's upset a lot of teams by not working out either at his place or probably in conjunction with character issues. He does have other. I think I talked about this. Maybe it was a draft show too.
Wait, Nolan has issues?
Yeah, he's asked off the field a couple times. There's some character things with him too.
What if just for instance, Mike Tomlin was all over him at the senior bowl. Everybody said how much they loved each other. What if Tomlin was like, "Hey man, you're my guy. Don't work out for anybody. Screw that. Just make sure you're there when we come up, and I'll pick you."
I don't think his agent would let him do that.
Would it be the craziest Mike Tomlin thing we've ever heard?
Yeah, but his agent would be like, "Fuck Mike Tomlin. We're working out for all. We want to get drafted higher."
I was going to say, you would think in theory he'd want to get as high as he can, but if his agent then project him to no matter what he does, he ain't going to move the needle. Then
yeah, and it's either it's Mason Graham 1, and it's either been Nolan or Grant 2 or 3.
Yeah,
so,
and Kid Harmon sometimes gets in that mix too. I think,
and some mocks. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't get it with Harmon. I really don't. I like Farmer and I like Alfred Collins over him. I think he's a solid 5th, a solid 6th in the defensive line, which is still very good. I just don't think he's a good fit for the Steelers defense.
He's going pretty high though. I don't think he gets out of the early second round. I think
if you play a 4-3, take him all day long. He's not a 3-4 guy to me. He's just not.
Greg's got a question. Thoughts on the new kickoff rule that puts touchbacks at the 35 instead of the 30? Encourage less touchbacks. Kick returner like Tootin, Jaden Blue, Isaiah Bond would come in handy.
You know who's the lights out kick returner? Matthew Golden.
Yeah. You don't have to sell me anymore.
I would say with a 4.2 speed, yeah, I'd say so.
But he also ran back kicks. So
he's got the experience too.
Yeah.
Sold me on it.
I like the kid we haven't mentioned, Brashad Smith out of SMU, running back.
Yeah.
Former wide receiver from Miami. Kick returner, 5th round, 4th round.
I was about to say his projection around 5th.
Yeah, he's 4th, 5th round guy.
I
think he ran low 4.4s, if not 4.3. That's an interesting guy to keep an eye on.
You told me in the 4th round it was Jaden Blue. I don't know that I would hate that. There's some interesting things to his game too.
Yep.
I said this on Twitter and people shit on me. I said, why is Cordell Patterson still on his team? And people are like, "Oh, he's only $2 million. He's a veteran in the clubhouse." I'm like, what difference does that make?
He's gonna get cut. I also saw today is the vaunted kick returner. I think it was the worst in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
Returning kicks. He's going to get cut before opening day. He's a camp body. If God forbid, if Gainwell, Warren, and whoever we draft gets hurt, hey, we'll just start rolling him towards the line and hope that he can bowl into it for another yard or two. Look, somebody's got to keep Chef Boyardee in business in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, we're going long. Let's wrap this up. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, just tune in
draft show on Sunday.
Yeah,
5 o'clock. I'm going to have Tony Pauline on next week. Trying to nail down a day with him is like trying to. Let's just say he's tough, but he's committed to next week at some point, so we'll get him on.
Also, we're going to put out details on Draft Bash next week, right?
Yep, our game Draft Bash. We're going to get final details on Monday so you guys can get on board. There'll be prizes. It's a fun game once we explain the whole thing. I know we've been promising this for a while. We're trying to finish up the final details on our end so we can roll this out. So that's going to be fun. Guys, subscribe to the podcast if you listen to this afterwards, after we're done live, and you like what you hear. Please hit that subscribe button. That helps us out tremendously. Like button, give us a good review. That'd be great too. You can find us on Apple.
We're now back on Rumble, right? That's what we're on.
Rumble now. We're on YouTube. We're all over the place. Anywhere you get your podcast, you can find us. Hit that subscribe button. That really, really helps out a lot. And until next time, thanks for listening to Steel Sanctuary Podcast.
Say when.
You're everyone's problem. Just pause. Put that down. Let's just take a step back. No, I was wrong. I'm sorry. Take a step forward. Now, take a step back. A step forward. And a step back. And then we're cha-cha.
You are still dangerous. You can be my wingman anytime.